Hey, welcome everybody to the Exercise Science and Integrated Wellness online master's degree program overview. Today we'll be going into depth about this program as well as the admissions process. My name is Delania Bell. I'm an admissions advisor here, and today joining me will be Dr. Terry Leap. We also have on the line a few other participants, which is the Director of Admissions, Mark Thompson, and Kathy Fritsch, VP of Strategy and Operations. We're just going to go ahead and give a few minutes here to let everybody trickle in and go ahead and get situated, and then we'll start. Feel free to put in the chat where you're from. I am from San Diego. We have a few others here from other places, like Hawaii today.
Hello, hi.
Hi. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, of course. Very happy to be here.
Do you go by Abby or Abigail?
I go by Abby. Yes, that's right.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, as we're getting started here, we'll see if a few more people join before we get started.
And I just noticed the chat seems to be disabled for the participants. Mark, is that a feature you can enable?
Yeah.
Take a look.
Let's see. All right.
We have the Q&A available, so the chat may not be available, but if you have a question, you can put it in the Q&A section, and then we typically get to all the questions at the end of the webinar. But feel free to put in the Q&A where you're joining us from, and then any questions that you have along the way.
All right. Sounds great. Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming. Today we'll go ahead and discuss the program. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Dr. Terry Leap, and she's going to go ahead and get started here with this overview.
Thank you so much, Delaney. I appreciate it. Appreciate the introduction. Yes,
Yeah.
My name is Dr. Terry Leap. I am one of the instructors in this program. I am a graduate of Logan College of Chiropractic. Been teaching in the traditional classroom and online I've been teaching online already almost 10 years, believe it or not. Time flies, doesn't it, when you're having fun? Started out though teaching on ground and have taught classes in anatomy and physiology and also kinesiology and palpation in both exercise science and massage therapy. So it's really great to be here. Love the program and I hope you like what you see. We'll go over the features of the program and let's start with, it is completely online. And that's one of the most attractive features about our program is that it doesn't require you to be in person or on campus at any time. So depending on where you're living and where you're working, this program should fit nicely into your lifestyle. The classes themselves, and we'll talk about, there are actually 10 classes in this program. They are what we call asynchronous, meaning that you do not have to be in class a certain day of the week or logged in a certain day and time to be successful in this program. Most of your work is organized in weekly modules, and you, based on your busy schedule, whether you're a full-time employee or a busy parent, you'll be able to set your own schedule basically as to when you get that work done and when it gets submitted. So just want to highlight that this is a very attractive option for people who are also juggling multiple responsibilities, whether it's work or play. It fits nicely and should be an easy program for you to make your way through. Our coursework, the types of things that you'll actually experience in any of our courses, there are recorded lectures. We really want you to get to know who we are as we're learning about you as an individual and what makes us so successful. So you'll see several recorded lectures in each one of your courses, along with this required reading each week. You'll be submitting various reading assignments and writing assignments, and then posting. One of the features about our program when we do these discussion posts is that it gives you an opportunity to meet your classmates, right? The idea is we've all been brought together, and what's nice is that we will learn from each other. And that's one of the things I enjoy most about teaching online is I am also learning from each of you as we're gathered in these classes. And it's really impressive to me to learn from all of you as well. And then there'll be some tests and quizzes along the way. Again, those are taken online. You will take them when you're ready to take them during that assigned period of time, whether it's a week, and knock them out and submit them online as well. So go ahead and take us to our next slide, please, unless anyone has any questions here. So in saying that, each course is, as you'll see here, is 7.5 weeks in length. The courses themselves start on a Monday. The work typically starts on a Monday, and then you'll have 7 days to complete the work. So in being able to do that, it takes an average of about 10 to 15 hours. I think in the beginning, it feels like it takes a lot more because you're learning our online platform, you're learning how to submit your work via these online platforms and that. But what I find is that students after the first or second class, they really start to get into a groove and they've set themselves a schedule, and it works for them. It becomes very, very, very doable for them. You'll take 2 courses every single semester. So you'll take only one at a time. That one goes for 7.5 weeks. And then depending on the time of year and when you start this program, so if you were to start it in May, then that second course, you would start a few days after the end of your first course. You're not doubling up at any time. You're not taking more than one class. You're simply taking one course every 7.5 weeks. And that's what students find that they really enjoy. 10 classes for this program from start to finish. Each one of them is awarded a 4.5 quarter credit, and it takes 18 months from start to finish. That sounds like a really long time, but I can testify that it's going to go very, very quickly. Having taught in this program and others, once you really start taking the courses, the time starts to really go fast. And before you know it, you'll be a graduate, which is a really neat experience. And then we do offer our classes year round. You'll see in just a little bit our academic calendar, and there is several opportunities and breaks built into the program: summer, holidays, spring break. And every time it gives you just a little time to decompress before you start a new class, which is kind of nice. So next slide, please. Thank you. So what makes this program so different? What makes it so unique? And that's one of the things that drew me to want to teach in this program is it is not only a master's degree in exercise science, but what we've done, and as this program was created, it helps to also bring into our understanding for us to also integrate wellness. We understand there's a very, very strong relationship between people who want to engage in exercise science, become fit, but also in some ways, the wellness and the behavioral aspects that come to taking on those challenges, right? There's more to it than simply taking a walk or riding a bike. There is also this connection between the body and the mind, and how we are able to maintain a level of fitness and wellness through making some changes in our own behavior and working with people who have a strong desire to do so as well. And that's what I love most about this program. You know, having come from a chiropractic background, I understand that philosophy. I celebrate that philosophy. And I think that's what I love most about working here and being an instructor in this program. So along with that, as you're making your way through the coursework, students often ask, well, what types of certifications am I eligible for? And what professional organizations? As you're completing your studies with us and completing courses in this program, these courses are recognized by some of the organizations that are listed here. You may be familiar with them if you have a background in exercise science. If you don't, take a little snip or a snapshot of this and commit that to memory, because there are a lot of students who take this program will go on to gain additional certifications, maybe additional degrees, but some of what you're learning here and what you might be taking will apply to some of the certifications and the opportunities, excuse me, associated with these organizations. These are well-known organizations in the field of exercise science, and some of you are probably already familiar if you have any certifications yourself. All right, so this is what it looks like, right? From start to finish, there are 10 courses that we've already mentioned. Just a couple things I want to highlight, because you can actually read this, on your own, is that when we first start the program, and that very first class you'll take is a foundations class of exercise science, just getting to understand the field of exercise science. Then very quickly after that, you're going to go into, and these are the classes that I teach, the upper and lower extremity classes. Right. So what you need to keep in mind is that you do not have to have a background in anatomy or a bachelor's degree in biology or to understand medical terminology as a professional. You're going to pick up this information along the way in our courses and start to put together an understanding of exercise science and how it relates to movement. And then how do we incorporate these behavioral changes that I spoke of on the last slide, all while recognizing that we're creating change and we're helping people to find their wellness. As you look at the bottom there's a couple classes which are specifically for the general population and then our special populations. Some of you, who might be interested in this might have in fact, a couple of my students in one of my classes now already have a strong desire to work with special populations, whether it's patients who are diabetic or people who are struggling with obesity, hypertension, right? All of these are opportunities for you throughout this program to learn, how do you apply some of these principles to our general population, but specifically into the special populations as well. And so I'd love to see if you want to post in the chat, if you're already thinking about working in the special populations, what that might look like for you. So you want to drop that in there for me, that would be great. Thanks, Delaney. On that second slide are the other courses. So you'll see one listed for nutrition, for physical activity, and then again, the wellness and that mind-body connection. So we're taking I use the word holistically, we're taking a 360-degree approach to all things related to not only exercise, but wellness, incorporating some level of nutrition. And then how do we work with folks who want to make some changes, right? And that's what's really wonderful about this program. Then you'll finish there with behavioral change. Now that you've taken the time to learn and grab some of those competencies, what does that look like? How do we do that for these folks who come to us? How do we put together these plans? And then lastly, you'll get the opportunity in this practicum class to put it into action, right? This very last class, while it's listed as a practicum, don't be intimidated by that, or, don't find it daunting. This is really an opportunity to kind of just put a really nice bow on this package and start to put into practice what you've learned in these online classrooms with us and with your peers. And so from start to finish, these 10 courses, as we've outlined them here, you'll end up with 45 of those course credits. All right. So at the end of the day, basically, what are some of the outcomes? What do we promise that we'll deliver? What is it that you'll feel like you'll be walking away from? Those are listed here on this slide. You'll be able to actually select, perform, and interpret results from different types of fitness assessments, right? Most students, and I'm finding that in my current class, want to know, are they going to be able to do something specific for people, right? And how will they do that? And we're going to teach you and provide you the opportunity to learn how specifically to do these types of things, how to, document them and communicate them and basically become in some ways your own teacher, right? You'll also learn how to design these wellness programs themselves or specific exercise programs. You'll make suggestions for maybe how to lift or how to walk or what types of exercise our special populations should be engaging in, right? You'll become in some ways the go-to for that type of thing. And then how do we make that connection? Is it through, adding yoga? Is it through making sure we're well hydrated, getting rest? One thing that people often overlook is how important rest is in physical fitness and in being fit and feeling well. All of that are components of your outcomes in this program. And then really finding, we're inundated each and every day, 24/7, on all of these different sources of information. Well, which ones are evidence-based, right? That's really what you will become very good at recognizing, and you'll also be seeking throughout your professional training. Where can we find those evidence-based sources of information so that we can internalize and extract that information and then do something real with it? That's really what a lot of people want to do when they finish this program is, do something real, help people, and also know that it's been done in, I don't want to say a scientific way, but it's been one in which has been mostly evidence-based. And that's one of the things that we'll continue to work with you as you travel on your journey with us. Next slide, please. So when it's all said and done, what are some of the opportunities that you might pursue or that could become available to you? Obviously, one of the ones that we're most proud of is the health and wellness coach or director, right? A lot of people who take on programs such as this really want to become a wellness coach, right? And we see, as you'll see there, that there's projected growth over the next 8 years in these types of occupations. Now is the time, in a way, to get on that train and really, secure this degree and to grab those skill sets. In addition, you might want to become a personal trainer if you're not already. We do find that some of our students who come to us already are, right? This is a great way to segue into something a little bit bigger. Fitness specialist and wellness and community health coordinators, right? How do we put it into practice within the neighborhoods where we live and with the people who we surround ourselves with into our communities? That's really what this is all about. So, okay, as I mentioned at the very beginning, it feels like we're moving really fast here. At the beginning, this is what our academic calendar looks like. And really what we want, without throwing all these dates at you, is that for you to understand how everything is moving in sequence. I see Jill put her hand up, and so if she has a question, just let me know. Starting this program May 5th, your first 7.5 weeks of courses would run until June 25th, and then that next one would start the following Monday on June 30th. Right after you finish those first 2 courses or your first semester, you'll end up on our summer break schedule. Gives you time to just decompress, kind of reset, and then turn around. And fall is always the time, right, to go back to school. You'll find yourself back in what would be your 3rd class then in September on the 2nd. Those would run those first and second sessions until your winter break, where we have, it's almost 2, maybe it looks like a little bit more, almost 3 weeks off, depending on the holiday schedule and when everything falls. And then you'd come back in the spring, or for our winter term, January 5th. That one's got spring break right in the middle of it, right? So you'll get a little time off there to maybe go someplace warmer or get some extra rest. But wanted to make sure that you understand that this is not something that is just going to, it's not one after the other, after the other, after the other. We realize that there are times when we've got to stop and recharge because when we're well, we're able to share that with others. And so there is a nice amount of time broken up or available to you in our calendar to give you the opportunity to kind of recharge as well. So next slide. All right, Delania, you want to, how to apply? I think you're on mute.
All right. Well, thanks so much for going over the program with us.
Sure.
Super excited to get students engaged in this program and certainly answer your questions here at the end. I know there was a hand raised. And so I'm going to go ahead and go over the admissions portion of this program and how to apply, which is a pretty seamless process. And so we accept applications, on a rolling basis. The applicants, for this program must have a bachelor's degree. It could be in anything. It doesn't have to be a science background. As long as you have a cumulative GPA of 2.75 or higher, you can certainly apply for this program. And for this, we do have 3 start dates each year, as Dr. Terry Leap had discussed with us. You have your spring term starting May 5th, coming up here around the corner. The fall term, September 2nd, and the winter term, which is January 5th. And so this process to apply, you'll go onto our website, and you'll click the apply link, apply now. There are no references or test scores required. There is an essay, which is, an essay on why you chose Bastyr and your passion for exercise science and wellness. And it's about 500 to 700, word essay. You'll also want to request all your official transcripts. You can use, Parchment or contact the university or college directly. You'll want to make sure you order all your transcripts from every institution where you've earned credit, so that you can have a full application file to be evaluated for acceptance. You can upload them to your application portal. You can also send them directly to appstat@bastyr.edu. You'll want to check your email regularly for application updates on what's needed, but we will be in contact, and communication weekly to make sure you have everything you need. Also, we do have our socials you can join for networking and to find more info about Bastyr. And so there are no prereqs required for this program. Like I said, all you need is a bachelor degree. It doesn't matter what it's in, if it's in communications or something different than science, that's okay. A lot of our students have a different background than exercise science or wellness. So also one of the other steps you'll want to complete besides applying and submitting your transcripts and essay would be to apply for financial aid. You'll want to submit your FAFSA. We have the school code listed here. There's also another form that needs to be filled out, which is our Bastyr financial aid application that needs to be sent over to the finaid@bastyr.edu, which will also be coming up here next on this next slide. But you'll want to submit these documents as soon as possible to see what you qualify for. If you have questions about this, you can reach out to Nancy Crispin. She's our financial aid advisor for this program. And this is her contact information, which we'll also be sending to you as well after you had applied. You'll be able to get this information, or just put your hand in the chat and we'll make sure you get it. You'll want to send your FinAid, your financial aid form to finaid@bastyr.edu so that we can keep track of everybody that's using financial aid. You'll also want to, explore what Bastyr has to offer. There's our community. You can talk with faculty, talk with a member or a student to connect with like-minded individuals that have a passion also for whole person wellness and holistic health, as well as exercise science and fitness. Visit us either on the campus. You can schedule a tour at the San Diego campus or the Kenmore campus. Also, feel free to visit our bookstore. There's a lot of great stuff there, including Bastyr University sweaters, and they call it swag. So feel free to take a look there as well. All right. Well, I do want to answer any questions that you guys might have. I know that we have a Q&A, and so I'd love to get a chance to go over that as well. Feel free to unmute yourself and let us know what kind of questions you might have for today.
So Abby dropped one in here. She says, with an online degree, how is networking, connection, and community fostered? That's a great question. I think, yeah, what I love about this is that through the work that you'll be doing each week, especially in both of my classes, we're asking you to, introduce yourselves, but then also post in a discussion post forum. You'll be asking each other, you'll be commenting on the work that others are doing, and then you'll also be connecting on things which you find that you have similar interests in, right? So the 9 students in my current class, they're really starting to get to know one another, and you can start to see how they're developing relationships because they have shared or common interests. I have a couple yoga practitioners in my class, and they're on their journey together and really sharing information. I've noticed that they're sharing sources as well. And then also you'll be able to speak to them outside of class at your leisure, right? We have multiple opportunities for chat. There's multiple opportunities for discussion outside of what is in the curriculum. And it's really neat to watch students go through this journey together and how they become very, very close as a group, as a cohort, and really start to rely on each other and help pull each other through at times, but also support each other and hold each other up. So it's kind of neat to see.
And Terry, if I can piggyback on that, with one of your courses, we actually have integrated our Masters of Science in Integrated Nutrition. So in your research course, you're actually mixed with students from another discipline to get an opportunity to expand your networking community with individuals in a different master's program that's very complementary. In addition to that, because we offer face-to-face programs at our Seattle campus and our San Diego campus, there are a variety of events, lunch and learns, and things that are done remotely to be inclusive of both of our campuses, that as online students, you're also welcome to join in. And obviously you do have an opportunity if you happen to be in the Seattle or San Diego area to join any face-to-face events on those campuses. Does that?
That's great. That's perfect.
Wonderful. And then Jill, did you also have a question?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. So in the communication, it was mentioned that it's 18 months, but if you look at the calendar, it looks like it's 12 months.
Well, that calendar is actually just a small portion of the program. It doesn't go into the next year. That just goes, it's just showing you
I think we
2025,
only see
2026.
courses on that first, yeah, the academic. Yeah. It's a good question.
Oh,
We
it-
should- yeah. Go
Because
ahead.
I just took a screenshot and then it says the last of it was online winter term and that ends April 29th of 26.
So that's only going to be the first 6 courses, and then you still have 4 additional ones in your second year.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that seems really amazing.
It's fast, but it's not quite that fast.
Said it wasn't gonna be so crazy, right? No, yeah, I think we
Yeah.
could have done a second slide with the last 4 classes mapped out on the calendar, on the academic calendar. I think that's, yeah.
Okay, and then my last question is as far as additional fees for texts or any class materials that we need, do you
Mhm.
have information on that?
Yeah, so generally speaking, the text material and the reading material would be links in your Canvas, but there may be additional books that are required as per the instructor. Terry, you can speak to that.
I can speak to the 2 courses in there is an online, we have a lab manual called the Kendall Hunt Manual. So the cost of that manual and then the required textbook is also a part of that. I believe those are the additional 2 expenses in my courses.
Okay,
So every
thanks.
instructor would be different, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else have any questions? I see a lot of familiar people in here. I know I've talked with all of you, and so I'm glad you guys came to
Yeah.
the
Jennifer,
to the
has a
webinar.
question about tuition. What is the cost per credit or tuition
Mhm.
price?
For this program, it is $375 a credit, being that it is a program that's 45 credits. This comes out to a total of $16,875 for the total tuition of this program. It's charged per term by the class, so every term is 2 classes. And so each term you'll be charged for 2 classes, which is $3,375.
Hi, Lisa. You have your hand up? I think Dr. Fritsch is answering the one you dropped in the Q&A. Do you have another question besides that?
And you can feel free, Lisa, to unmute yourself, and if you need clarification on that, we can talk further. Or all right. Well, again, thanks for coming, everybody. I hope I was able to answer your questions. I'm super excited to have this new session coming up here for the May session. And looks like most of you are in that program coming up here. And so, yeah, just feel free to contact me or Alyssa if you have any other further questions. Other than that,
So what
thank
can
you,
they
Dr.
expect?
Terry Lee.
Oh, yeah, it's my pleasure. Absolutely.
Mhm.
My email is on this last slide. If you have questions after we've spent some time together tonight, you are welcome to email me personally. And I'm happy to, whether it's pick up the phone or we can just chat via email, answer any questions that you might have. Sometimes students will have specific questions about, how are we graded, or, I live in a different time zone. How does that work, right? We can kind of work through some of that if you have any other questions as you go through this. To answer the time zone question, everything's based on PST, right? Pacific time. Yeah, so. Mark, did we forget anything? Is there anything else that you'd like to add here?
Yep, I'll just say everyone who attended is going to get a copy of the recording. So you'll be able to review the slide deck and watch this amazing presentation as many times as you like. And then it looks like the question about the GPA was answered. We do consider under 2.75 GPA on a case-by-case basis. We understand that sometimes when you were getting your bachelor's degree, you were young and made some questionable decisions, and maybe your grades weren't the best, but maybe some time has passed and you're refocused. So we really want to get to know you in that essay that you're going to write when you fill out the application. Tell us the circumstances of that GPA and why it's under 2.75, and how you're setting yourself up for success to be successful in the program. So we will consider GPAs under 2.75. Just let us know the circumstances.
All right. Well, great. Thanks again, everybody, for coming. You have my contact information as well, and let us know if we can be of any help to you in the coming weeks here closer to the start date. And we'll see you soon. Thanks for coming.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.